Truck Sports Podcast. We dive deep, talking ball games from NFL to the NBA, elite athletes, talking coaches, strategizing. Every episode, we bring you the latest. From soccer fields to tennis courts so vast. We cover every sport, night and day fast. Hear the stories, the wins, the losses too. Our passions for sports, no matter the crew. Mack Truck Sports, where the talk never ends. From the big leagues to the little friends. Get ready for the ride, we're just getting started. Mack Truck Sports, let's make this a...
Welcome back to another edition of the TheeMackTruckshow show, trailer, whatever you want to call it, presented to you by the Tired Sports Network and Cumulus Media Des Moines Podcast Network. My name is Mackenzie Brooks, a.k.a. The Mack Truck, a.k.a. your worst nightmare. It's a Wednesday evening here in beautiful Des Moines, Iowa. We've definitely been off for a little bit, so for those of you who have been wondering, no, you haven't missed much. We just haven't been on for a while. Life has unfortunately gotten the best of me, to say the least. But we'll get into that here in just a little bit. Like I said, this show is presented to you by the Tired Sports Network, coupled with Cumulus Media Des Moines Podcast Network. Listen, we're here. For those of you who have been a fan of my show, fan of my platform, all the things, also know that we also come on here to talk about real life and things to some extent, but you know, that's what happens in adulthood and things. Just kind of been going through some financial issues due to kind of a giant health scare this past spring and summer, as well as just kind of life getting in my way. So I'm kind of trying to fight through some things. Had to pick up a couple extra jobs to try to help that. So if you want to be so kind and to kind of help me get back on my feet or anything like that, I believe my Venmo is in the comments or on my bio. I'm not actually sure, or it's in the comments of this particular live description. So anything helps. Like I said, if you guys know me, I don't like to ask for help. I would much rather try to figure it out on my own, but sometimes you just, sometimes you got to ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. I mean, the worst thing somebody could say is no. So, but I'm never going to ask for help unless I absolutely feel like I need it. And I kind of feel like I need it. So that's the tea. If you know really as far as like health wise, what's been going on, just so you guys know, I am a lot better than I was before. I've got, have had doctor's appointments, gotten some meds for all the things. Starting to feel better. I actually look a lot better. Complexion's back in my face. I don't look like a zombie anymore. I'm getting this thing called sleep. So sleep helps with a lot of things, or whatever, they say. But we're here. Like I said, if you want to donate or share to donate, I will have Babe, because Babe's in the comments. Everybody yell at Babe. I'll have her drop my Cash App and Venmo as well. I would absolutely appreciate all of you and everybody and all of the things all at the same time. So that's what we're getting into. But we got a kind of a short docket today. Lots of details though. So not going to do a quote of the day because, like I said, we're kind of doing a little bit of some different platforming, things like that. So we're here. We're large and in charge talking sports. Again, this show is presented to you by the Tired Sports Network and Cumulus Media Des Moines Podcast Network, as well as the official merchandiser for the Mack Truck Podcast. Okay. In my back apparel customs by none other than Evan Thunder Bradfield, organized game podcast crew with Caleb and Evan Bradfield, the brotherly duo that is all things sports and ball. Okay, listen, we got a lot to talk about. I'm just going to throw that out there. Okay, we're going to recap UFC 319. Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. And if you watch that fight card, we have so much to talk about. So much to talk about. Literally, it's scary. The fight card itself was fire. The championship title fight was fire. The co-main event was fire. The whole damn card was busting. Okay, let's just let's get geared up for that. I'm excited to be back and talk to y'all in the realm of sports like we are here today. And also, if you're joining us on Facebook, TikTok Live, I see a bunch of people in there. Hey, how you doing? StreamYard, YouTube, Twitch, X. We're everywhere. So don't forget to also follow the Tired Sports Network on the places where you can get your podcasts in terms of Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all the things. And make sure you're supporting everybody that's in the network. Again, not limited to or just strictly the Mac Truck Show. Like I said, Recognized Game Podcast, the Bearder Brothers Podcast, On Time Sports Talk. Okay, look, there's so many different varieties of shows just within our network. So make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing, supporting all the things. Okay, let's talk sports. Okay, next thing on the docket we got today, just some NFL preseason, just some news and notes in terms of contracts, like when is Jerry Jones going to pay Michael Parsons? Because we all know that's really, unfortunately, the topic of the NFL right now, outside of people making cuts for the 73-man or 53-man roster, that type of thing. Also going to get into some WNBA recap. Right now, specifically speaking, the Indiana Fever. Specifically speaking, the Indiana Fever. Okay. Going to touch on some scores, going to touch on some news and notes. We're also going to touch on the unfortunate sex toy scandal that has been happening in the WNBA. And if you don't know what's been happening, make sure you stay tuned into the show, because that is something we will cover. Absolutely. And then our final thing that we have, recapping college football week 0 and the fact that we have college football back starting tomorrow night. Okay. I'm here for this. If you know me, you know my passion is sports. You know my passion is football. Okay. It's back. Obviously, I'm repping the black and gold per normal. Okay. We don't do none of that Michigan State stuff, none of that Michigan stuff. We don't do any you folks in the Big Ten. It's all I will hear. Okay. But I will watch y'all. I will watch y'all when we're not playing against each other. None of that. I'm gonna go over the Texas-Ohio State matchup that is this Saturday, which I don't quite understand why it's at 11 a.m. But we're gonna get right into it. Okay, listen, gonna get right into it. UFC 319 did not disappoint, folks. UFC 319 did not disappoint. If you the unanimous decision 28-29 times 3. Okay. I'll tell you this. Tour circuit of MMA very, very long time. Like, I mean, when I say long time, I mean like Jeff Neal has been around since, the likes of, Ben Askren, Robbie Lawler, Dan Henderson, I mean, just some of these big names, Randy Couture, okay, Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, like he's been around, he's seen it. TJ Dillashaw, those types of people. Unfortunately, he does lose to a TKO in just the bottom of the first round at literally 4 minutes and 59 seconds to be exact. Just so we're throwing that out there. 4 minutes and 59 seconds to be exact versus Carlos Paredes. Hits him with an overhand right. It's pretty much over with from there. The one thing I do like about this platform in terms of the UFC and how it is getting their name out there with some of these newer stars is with the overall collective of Dana White's Contender Series and the UFC, like the Ultimate Fighter itself. That's where a lot of these newer fighters, newer grapplers are getting their in-fight experience before they try to go for the contract. And I think that's probably one of the best things to happen to the sport of MMA. Whether you're a heavyweight, whether you're a middleweight, or whether you're a very small strawweight, it doesn't matter. Those two drivers in terms of developmental leagues, if you will, when it comes to the sport of MMA, is something that those fighters can take with them, even if they don't make it all the way to the end of the show, the end of the season, get the contract. They can take that experience and turn their careers into something because they've been seeing all that. And that's kind of what had happened with this next person in terms of the co-main event with Aaron Pico versus Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy is also another fighter out of the UK who has just come into the UFC and just kicked doors down. Just kicked doors down all the way across. Has just kicked doors down and has proven himself time and time again. He came into this fight 16-0-1. So 16 wins, no losses, 1 no contest or draw. Aaron Pico, who has a wrestling background, has been wrestling all of his life, switched over to MMA just about 3, 4, 5 years ago. Finally got his shot on some of the smaller series and shows. And then if anybody watches Dana White's series called Dana White Looking for a Fight, Dana White has found a lot of the stars that we are looking at and talking about now through these shows, through these entities that he's created for fighters. And Aaron Pico is a prime example of that. Aaron Pico came into this fight 13-4-0. He's now 13-5-0 with that loss. TKO in the first round, minute and a half. Lerone Murphy, due to a flurry of punches. I watched it. Like I said, I watched this entire card. I've watched it time and time again, numerous. It's just I don't feel like I could watch enough of this card and still feel like I've really analyzed it. It's like the, how can I say it? It's more or less like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and getting the same result. Like, you don't do the same thing over and over to try to get a different result. You change things to get a different result. That's how I feel like it's been with just constantly watching these fights, constantly watching these cards, the results, the commentary, listening to the podcast and shows and everything like that. So I think for Aaron Pico, in terms of just him losing, he's one fight away from getting a title shot. If I'm going to be completely honest, like, the kid is massive. He's quick. He's elusive. He's very flexible. He can submit you and will submit you. But when you're fighting younger age talent with a little bit older age veteranship and experience, 99% of the time and it's just at this point very very meticulous about how he fights, who he fights, what he's fighting. But he's also been known to take titles from people. He's also been known to get caught, just things like that. But no fighter, no athlete is perfect. So let's just remember that, guys. Like, when we're going through these recaps, and I see some comments on some of the other platforms just in terms of, people just having opinions as far as the fighters and fight cards. Let's just remember, if we were in a position to be what they're doing, do what they're doing, or be where they are, we would already be there right now. Like, there's a difference between giving an opinion and giving constructive criticism, and then there's a difference of being a hater. Let's probably not be a hater. Either way, moving on into the main event here, Dricus Du Plessis came into this fight plus 225. Plus 225 versus Khamzat Chimaev, who came into this fight minus 275. Let me just throw that out there right now. Again, anybody that watches the UFC and pays attention knows how detrimental of a fighter that Khamzat Chimaev is. Let me just throw that out there. Anybody who picked Dricus Du Plessis to win this fight is a lunatic. I was that one person. I picked Dricus to win this fight because he's been able to dig himself out of holes before. Never again will I underestimate Khamzat Chimaev. But he's also flown through the division. And I'm kind of surprised how he didn't get a title shot before this last card. Unanimous decision, obviously in favor of Khamzat Chimaev. He's now still undefeated, 15-0-0. Dricus Du Plessis is now 23-3-0. I also see an immediate rematch coming for Dricus Du Plessis to try to get his title back. And I'll tell you this, if and when that immediate rematch happens, he's not going to win it again. He's not. I'm going to tell you this right now. There's just something about Khamzat Chimaev. And you think that he can't get no better, but he still keeps getting better. It's disgusting. It's like what more do you have to improve on? Make that make sense to me. Like, the math ain't mathing, folks. Hello, make it make sense. I can't do it. Either way, Dricus Du Plessis again is now 23-3-0. Khamzat Chimaev is now the UFC undisputed middleweight champion. Again, wins by decision 44-50 3 times over. That means Dricus Du Plessis had at least 1.5 rounds of a 10-8 scorecard, which is bad. A 10-8 scorecard means you didn't produce enough. You didn't land enough shots. You didn't take enough shots. Again, anybody that watched this card, anybody that watches combative sports, combat sports, pugilistic sports, knows the way to beat the judges, if it goes to the judges, is doing more damage to the other person. Khamzat Chimaev made him look like a teenage boy. Made it look like this was just a tune-up sparring session. I was rather kind of surprised, not gonna lie. I absolutely thought that Dricus Du Plessis was going to hold his own a little bit more. I was wrong, and I can absolutely and will forever admit that. I'm just now getting to a point to where I can admit that, Ronda Rousey was a little bit of a one-trick pony. And anybody that knows me knows that I love my Ronda Rousey, okay? Ronda Rousey is part of the reason why I started fighting again. I'm going to just throw that out there right now. For those of y'all who didn't know, Ronda Rousey's still my girl. She's still one of the GOATs. We're not going to have this conversation, debate, argue with your mama, not me. You better find something else safe to play with because it's not Mack Truck. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. No debates. Whether you're looking at me on the StreamYard, on the YouTube and the Twitch, whether you're looking at me on the TikTok sphere. Okay? This is not a debate. Ronda Rousey's still the GOAT when it comes to some forms of MMA. Period. Fact of the matter is, when it comes to combative sports, pugilistic sports, somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. That's why there's 5 rounds in a championship fight. Okay, there's 3 rounds in a headliner if it's not a pay-per-view. And speaking of pay-per-views, now that we're kind of done and gone through the UFC 319 recap itself, we have so much UFC news, it's not even funny. Okay? And again, if you're just joining us, thank you for joining us. This is a new edition of the Mack Truck Show, Mack Truck Podcast, presented to you by TikTok Live, StreamYard, Facebook Live, all the things, Apple Pods, Google Pods, Cumulus Des Moines Media Podcast Network, and the Tired Sports Network. I'm your girl, Mack Truck. We're talking UFC news and notes. Okay? Listen, for those of you who have gone through the struggles of, watching the UFC flourish and bloom through its infancy, from being on Spike, starting with the Ultimate Fighter series itself, to the old school ways of the UFC in terms of there being no rules, all the things to the platform it's on now. You also experience the fact that they have been on a platform that's better known as pay-per-view. Let's be honest, Nobody likes to pay $75 or $80 to watch a fight. That's why people bootleg it. It's a thing. But now, starting in 2026, the UFC will now be broadcasting all of its fighting events through Paramount Plus and CBS Network, which means you have to have the Paramount Plus subscription to watch the big line the pay-per-view fights that would have been pay-per-view fights in 2026. Now, I for one am excited about this because that means it's more content. That means it's more revenue for all three networks: Paramount, Paramount Plus, CBS, and the UFC itself. So all five rather. And it gives the fans more access. It gives the fans more of a chance to be able to see the headlining cards and all the things. But you still got to pay the subscription. And the subscription, for what I know, is $49 a month, which comparatively, $49 a month for a subscription to be able to have access to, TV shows, UFC, all that, compared to paying $70, $80 a month or every other month, every couple of weeks for UFC pay-per-view cards. A little bit cheaper over here on this side. And I'm excited. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Like, literally can't wait. Like I said, the switch is supposed to happen in 2026. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, there'll be more news in terms of which package to pick to get the access to the UFC events and all the things. Also, for those of you who, again, still pay attention to the UFC, there will be a UFC fight card on the White House lawn. And I don't give a damn who's in office. I need to try to be there. I need to try to be there or find my way onto that card. Like, not even playing. Like, there has never been a sporting event, like an official sporting event, at the White House. At least to my knowledge, in my young 33 and 3/4 years of life, I can't remember there ever being an actual professional televised sporting event at the White House. I cannot wait for this card. And for those of you who remember the scandal with like John Jones and Tommy Aspinall to fight for the undisputed heavyweight title to unite. Tommy Aspinall was the UFC heavyweight interim champion. John Jones was the UFC heavyweight champion. John Jones has re-retired from the sport of MMA. Tommy Aspinall is now the current reigning, defending, undisputed UFC heavyweight champion. I don't know who he's going to fight or if he's going to defend his title first on this card. I would hope whoever Dana White and the matchmakers put for this fight card, I hope it's a banger. It needs to be a banger. It's going to be on the White House lawn. So really, no, I don't think you can go wrong with making matchups on this fight card. I'm excited, frankly. But we are moving on into the next topic. Again, this broadcast is presented to you by you, the fans, the folks. I love you all, and I love all your support. And I appreciate the fact that you're still here with me. I really do. We're here talking sports. We're here talking life, okay? Like I said, if you're just joining us, you will have to listen to the top of the show. We did have a little bit of an announcement, just a little bit of a life update. As you see, Babe is in the comments posting the Cash App and Venmos for myself. Like I said, if you know what's been going on, I've been having some health scares, have lost some time at work because of it, have had to pick up a couple extra jobs to do to just catch up. So I'm asking for just a little bit of help. If anybody knows me, I don't like to ask for help. I would much rather figure out somebody else's problems than my own sometimes. But, the first step to admitting that there's an issue is admitting that there's an issue. So there's a little bit of an issue, and it's okay. But like I said, we're here to talk about sports. This portion of the show is presented to you also by Patton That Spirits. Daniel and Jen Patton's coveted line of adult beverage spirits is out now for sale all across really the generalized United States. Make sure you hit them up on Instagram or Facebook. On Instagram, it is at them Pattons. That's the @ symbol, TheMackTruckshows. Tell them the Mack Truck sent you. And make sure you're buying your merchandise again, whether it's Mack Truck merchandise, whether it's Patton That Spirit merchandise, whether it's just In My Bag apparel in general. Make sure you're hitting up In My Bag apparel for all things fashion and pop culture. Listen, we're getting into the WNBA. we are getting into the WNBA. We got a lot to cover. Not even so much games and stats, but specifically the Indiana Fever and the fact that they have been plagued with the injury bug. Here's a short list of players from the Indiana Fever who are still injured or have been injured within the past 30-ish days. Caitlin Clark has missed 26 games in total this entire season with a groin injury. Then, as she was on pace to come back, hurts her ankle in practice. Now she's back on the PT train, on the rehab train, trying to get her ankle back together so she can play right before playoffs. Because right now, the Indiana Fever, who won last night, mind you, they scraped the Seattle Storm in Gainbridge Fieldhouse last night with the help of Kelsey Mitchell, and we'll get into that into another show either later this week or early next week. The Indiana Fever are still this close from being dropped from playoffs. They're about a game and a half ahead of Seattle and a game and a half ahead of Golden State. The Indiana Fever is 20-18. Okay, need them to keep winning. We need more insurance. We got to stay in the top 8. The top 8 teams go to the playoffs because it is a 13-team league right now. So last year it was the top 9 and you had the bottom 3. Now it's those 13 teams. Now it's the top 8 and the bottom 4 don't get to participate in said playoff hunt for the WNBA championship in a whole. Sydney Colson tears her ACL. And in the same game, okay, Ari McDonald breaks a bone in her foot. So that's now 3 players for the Indiana Fever alone. So again, Caitlin Clark with a groin and ankle. Sydney Colson tears her left ACL. And Ari McDonald breaks a bone in her foot in the same game as Sydney Colson. Now we get to add Sophie Cunningham, who's also out for the season with a knee injury. The knee injury itself is it's not super clear, but unfortunately, I also think she might have tore her ACL or a meniscus. Could have been a meniscus, but there's 2 people out with knee injuries, one with an ankle and a groin, and one with a broken foot. Now, as of last night, Chloe Bibby did not play because of a knee injury. The injury bug is plaguing all kinds of people. In fact, the injury bug started in the WNBA before the actual season started. Prime example, Georgia Amore for the Washington Mystics, point guard out of University of Kentucky. First round, second round draft pick from 2025 WNBA draft. Tears her ACL in preseason. The injury bug has just been happening all over the place when it comes to the WNBA, and I am not for it. I'm not here for it. I don't condone it, but injuries happen. It is what it is. There's not really anything we can do about it. What we can do about it, however, is, wish them well. Because what we don't do, and what we're not going to do, and what we will not continue to do, and I don't care if I have to come on here and say this till I'm blue in the face. We don't celebrate injuries here. That's not a thing. We don't celebrate injuries. And just kind of going across as far as injuries across the league. Angel Reese just came back from a back and leg injury and has picked up where she left off and has been killing it for the Chicago Sky. And I'll tell you this. If the Chicago Sky would have been able to get into double digits faster in terms of wins this season, I absolutely think they would be in the postseason. This is now the second season the Chicago Sky has not made the postseason, but also injuries have happened to them. Angel Reese has been in and out with back and knee injuries. Courtney Vandersloot at the very, very top of the season, even into preseason, tore her ACL. Courtney Vandersloot is one of the best point guards in basketball, not just the WNBA, basketball in general. Okay, let's just make sure we're getting that loud and clear. Basketball in general, Courtney Vandersloot, one of the best point guards, and her jersey will be hanging up there in Chicago next to Allie Quigley and next to the most recently enshrined Chicago Sky Raptor member, that is CP3 the GOAT, Candace Parker. Okay, for those of you who did not watch that game, you should be ashamed of yourself. Don't call yourself a basketball fan if you ain't watched that game. Listen. That jersey ceremony the retirement of the number 3 in the city of Chicago, where Candace Parker is from. Fantastic. Okay. One of my good friends, her name is Felicia. Shout out Felicia. I know she's still probably out in Chicago living her best life right now, but she is a diehard Tennessee Volunteers fan. Okay. If anybody knows basketball, Candace Parker played for Coach Pat Summitt, the great Pat Summitt, by the way, for the record. Okay. Felicia, and I'm so jealous, so jealous. Felicia got to meet her and had her basketball and her t-shirt signed by Candace Parker, and the pictures are on Facebook. Okay, they might even be on her TikTok. So if you have me on Facebook, just type in Felicia. You'll know who she is when you see it. Okay, I'm jealous, like literally jealous of Felicia. But that's just what happens when you have the passion for sports and you have the passion for a player. You do anything to try to, get them to see you and all the things. And I'm going to tell you this, Felicia did the damn thing. Shout out Felicia. Because the signature and the pictures, love it here. We love it here. Listen, also big shout out to everybody that's watching on all the other streams. TikTok Live, I see y'all. Hey, hi. What's up? Facebook, StreamYard, Twitch, YouTube, all the things. Hi, what's up? Hello. Again, if you're just joining us, we are talking about WNBA news and notes. We've gone over across the league in terms of the injury bug and what people, probably shouldn't do when it comes to just talking about injuries and wishing terrible things on people, because we don't do that here. Also, I will reiterate the fact this is an Angel Reese friendly platform. If you don't like it, doors over there. Literally right there. Doors right over there. There will be no Angel Reese slander. There will be no talk about women's sports slander, because that's not what we do here. Especially on my show, I don't think so. Listen, another topic in terms of the WNBA that I want to touch on is, and I feel like I have to touch on this every single time I come on to my show. People really need to learn the textbook definition of pay adequacy and pay equality. I don't know how many times I have to explain this to y'all. So we're going to have another crash course in the difference between the two. Okay? Great. Now, if you're with me, if you're not, sorry about it. It's a chance for you to get educated. Okay? Pay adequacy and pay equality are different. Being paid equally means you want the exact same pay as your counterpart, as your coworker. You want to get paid the exact same as somebody else for maybe even possibly doing a less strenuous job, whatever that looks like. Being paid adequately means I'm being paid the correct amount for what I am doing. That does not mean I want to be paid equally. That means I want to be paid adequately for my living style, for my line of work, whatever that looks like. Okay. And this, for whatever reason, and maybe it's just some Y chromosomes. And yes, I said Y chromosomes. If that offends you, I don't give a damn. I also use X chromosomes, because there are some X chromosomes that make me look stupid. I'm not even going to lie to you. This is a very raw and real show. If you don't like it, I truly don't care. Like, I'm not going to hold back. I'm not, I just, that's just not how I do things. Okay. Either way, for whatever reason, this conversation, because it's not really even a conversation anymore. This conversation in terms of people make like reposting things or reposting like AI content that people have created to try to make a more of a narrative out of this entire thing. Okay. Just kind of throw this out there. You ever think the reason that this conversation is still happening is because the WNBA itself isn't listening to its players? Like, let's start there. Okay. The WNBA, while yes, is now less than halfway funded by its sibling company in the National Basketball League, 97% of the staff for the WNBA make close to 5 or 6 figures. There's absolutely zero reason why your players and coaches on the teams in your league should not be making more money from your league. You are obviously and literally about to go through a new collective bargaining agreement when it comes to media and TV rights and revenue. So let's make sure that we're getting a deal to where we're going to be able to spread it out across the league. Like, I literally don't know how many times I have to come on here and say it for some of y'all to really get it through your skulls. And some of y'all are just literally going through the motions and just posting things to post things, and you can't have a conversation about it. Or you're making comments or making headlines on posts just to get people's reactions. Stop letting these stale Cheeto-eating basement dwellers get under your skin. Like, listen. Stop letting these basement dwellers get under your skin. Like, quite literally, they're literally doing it for clicks. It's literally clickbait. Unless you watch the sport or you have knowledge in the sport or you're an insider or you just pay attention to sporting news and, all the things, stop letting these basement dwellers and these stale Cheeto-eating motherfuckers get into your head. It makes no sense to me whatsoever why some of these people are like, oh, well, does the WNBA know that they literally wouldn't be a thing without the NBA? Oh, did you know that your mindset is literally about 15 years old? That tells me you haven't watched. That tells me you don't pay attention. That tells me you are literally looking to rile people up. And it's kind of sad, frankly. Maybe find a hobby. I hear knitting is a great thing. Crocheting, whatever that looks like. Listen, this is also sponsored by Dr. Pepper. Just going to throw that out there because, that is the Mac Truck drink of choice. We don't like water here. We don't like Gatorade. It's literally Dr. Pepper because, if I can see through it, I'm not drinking it. Willingly, anyway. Also, big shout out to the bestie, Casey, in the comments. Everybody's holler and write in capital letters, happy birthday to her. If you're watching on the streams, happy birthday, Casey. Happy birthday to the big brother, Rome. His birthday was yesterday. Listen, we do shout outs and all the things out here, okay? Well, listen, the other thing in terms of the WNBA that I really want to touch on, and again, if you've been paying attention to the sport, if you've been paying attention to WNBA news, sports in general, you know that the past just about 30-ish days, 45-ish days, there has been a very unfortunate and very random scandal in the WNBA. When I mean scandal, I mean there has been an adult toy scandal to surface the WNBA. Now, for those of you who don't know, there have been slated a total of, I believe, 8 to 10 WNBA games where there has been a random adult toy thrown onto a WNBA court during play. And it first started out as something random, and they started making arrests and starting to put things together. And they found out this is the workings of a cryptocurrency group, which is interesting to me because why on earth would you think that throwing adult toys onto the game of play is going to get your Bitcoin interest up? That makes no sense whatsoever. The math isn't mathing to me, frankly. Because first of all, that doesn't make sense, number one. Number two, that's disgusting. Because women's sports already get sexualized enough or don't already get taken seriously enough, so we're just going to throw adult toys onto the court and think that it's going to get our revenue sales for Bitcoin up or for a Bitcoin product up. That those numbers don't compute. No comprehendo. Okay? No must comprehend. Listen, why is this a thing? And the fact that they have been so diligent on making sure that they know that it's for a Bitcoin project or a Bitcoin product project is very sad and disgusting to me. Grow the hell up. If you want to explore your product, go on a platform I don't know, Facebook Live, StreamYard, TikTok. It's absolutely disgusting, and it's absolutely the worst form of aggressiveness when it comes to trying to picture product that you could possibly get. I really don't understand it. It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. But some things we're not meant to make sense, but like, why are we still doing this? Like, why, like, what is the point of throwing adult toys onto a basketball game? Because like, I'll be damned if anybody did that at an NFL game. I'll be damned if anybody did that at an NBA game, a tennis match, a golf match, a NASCAR, okay? MLB, college softball, really any other sport other than the WNBA. Y'all wouldn't dream of doing it there. So why would you do it here? Like, what on earth makes it okay for y'all to do that? And I'm glad that those y'all who have been involved in such a thing have been arrested, because you're disgusting. Like, you make my blood boil. Like, can't go, not gonna be able to do it. Like, ew. Okay, let's grow up. Let's find, like, I don't know, a marketing plan, you know, and like a demographic that we want to target with our Bitcoin product, rather than like, oh, I'm gonna throw an adult toy in a WNBA game. Because what? They'll make you look cool. You look dumb. Anywho, listen. Moving on into the next topic on the docket. Again, if you're just joining us, thank you very much for joining me here on another edition of the Mac Truck Podcast, presented to you by the Tired Sports Network and Cumulus Media Des Moines Podcast Network. My name is Mac Truck. Welcome in. I see everybody over here on the TikTok stream, over here on Facebook and StreamYard and YouTube, all the things. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Everything on the Tired Sports Network, as well as the Cumulus Media Des Moines Podcast Network, as well as the Mac Truck Show. Okay, the Mac Truck Show, that's where we're at right now. Listen, and like I said, I appreciate everybody's love and support and all the things. Listen, I could honestly tear up right now, but I don't cry. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you if I was anyway, because it's me. I'm very stubborn. If you know, you know. Listen, this part of the show is also brought to you by the new Truth Studios, formerly known as Truth Barbering Shop. Now at 8421 University Boulevard, Suite N in Clive. Still Windsor Heights, brand new location, brand new branding. The beard and barber stylings of Gary Duke Williams and Chris Fat Sticks in the barber for your beard and barbering needs. Make sure you tell them Mac Truck sent you. And if you don't, I mean, you're missing out. Literally, I'm going to throw that out there. And obviously, you need a good cut to go with them clothing that you got from In My Bag Apparel. Listen, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying. Either way, we're moving on into NFL preseason. And now, really, NFL regular season. 53-man rosters have been made or are starting to be made. Folks are getting cut. Contracts are still in question, Jerry fucking Jones and the Dallas damn Cowboys. Going to give me a coronary all 2025 per normal. Okay. When are you going to pay Micah Parsons? How about that? You know, and you know, the sad part is I should not be surprised at this wild old man antic, because he did the same thing to Ezekiel Elliott. He did the same thing to Dak Prescott. Did the same thing to CeeDee Lamb. Did the same thing to Amari Cooper. This is Jerry Jones' MO. Only difference is Micah Parsons hasn't actually been participating in OTAs, training camp, preseason games. And even in preseason games, even if he would have gotten the contract that he wanted and all the things, he wouldn't go and play. None of the starters play. And I mean, if you have starters playing, it's because they're younger, they're, you know, getting acclimated, coming off injury, whatever. But 99% of the time, your starters do not play well unless you're Kansas City Chiefs. They're a different breed. That's why they have 4 rings, okay? That's why they have 4 rings. Either way, Mike Parsons needs paid. And why is he one of the last ones who was still on his rookie contract? Why has he not been paid before? Like, why didn't you give him a year, you know, a 1-year extension or 1-year contract and then reevaluate now? See, if you would have did that, he wouldn't be holding out. Now he's in contention of not playing the first week because of you, because you want to be greedy. But I have noticed that they're making cuts of like practice players, all the things to offer him more money, which is what you should have been doing in the first damn place. Literally, the first place you should have been doing is making cuts where you don't need folk. Literally, and at this point, I won't be surprised if Micah Parsons doesn't play next week against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly, which Dallas will probably lose that game. I'm going to tell you right now. The Dallas Cowboys will probably lose to the Super Bowl champions, that is the Philadelphia Eagles. I hate the Eagles with every being in my bone, in my body. Can't stand them. Can't stand them. Can't stand them. I root for them when we're not playing Dallas, though, because they are in my conference. Okay. Fact of the matter is, Jerry Jones at this point is so old school with his mind tracking thinking. Like, okay, you want to save money, but you're a $1 trillion, you now are $1 trillion or $1 billion sporting entity, and you can't pay Micah Parsons? Micah Parsons is 97% of the reason why the defense has been as good as it has been in the past 4 years. You also did the same damn thing to DeMarcus Lawrence. Now look where he's at. With the Seattle Seahawks. Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Jerry Bear. Thanks for screwing up my defense. Okay, at least you did the right thing by getting some people off of waivers, getting Solomon Thomas from the Eagles, all the things. If you can't tell, I'm a little hot right now. Okay, Jerry Jones needs to get it together. Jerry Jones needs to sign Micah Parsons before somebody else tries to pick him up. And I swear to God, if another team picks him up before the start of the NFL season, I'm fisting to go off on him. Even more than I am right this very second. Because for what? Why? Like, why? Like, what? And there's no way you offered him the biggest non-quarterback salary because he would have taken it. There's no way. There's no way. So you need to offer him more, whether it's more guaranteed or listen, like, Jerry, don't do this. Like, you are already not a well-liked individual. Don't do this. Save yourself the sanity. Give the team to Steven, your son. Fall back. Whatever that looked like. Go watch your grandson play at Arkansas. Okay? You need to stop making football decisions. Quite literally, you gotta stop. Like, I mean, I don't know if I can express my irritation and anger towards him anymore. And Brian Schottenheimer not looking real great as a head coach right now because of all people, your running backs are paid, your quarterback is paid. You should be gunning for your top edge rusher right now. Now, I'll tell you this. He has had conversations with Micah Parsons per ESPN, all of the other sporting engines. Okay. In fact, they had a conversation Sunday per ESPN. Obviously, nothing came of it because we're still here and we're now, 5 days from? No, well, a little over a week from, week and a half rather, from the first NFL game. I mean, I don't have an edge rusher. Don't have an edge rusher. Literally don't. I have one. He's sitting on the sideline wondering when he's going to get paid. And let's say he signed, because I have a feeling, unfortunately, that Jerry Jones is going to sign him or they're going to agree to something like September 1st. And Micah Parsons has not been actively participating. So we don't even know what kind of shape he's in. He's obviously always still in shape, A shape. But he may not be in game shape. Like these are the things that's like really not, it's not computing to me. That not gonna be able to do it. Listen, I'm gonna have a freaking stroke or an aneurysm if I keep talking like about Jerry Jones like this. So we're gonna move on into the next topic of this NFL preseason and 53-man rosters and all the things. The Cleveland Browns have now made their cuts. Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel both made the 53-man roster, which means Kenny Pickett, 99% chance that he's the practice squad quarterback, scout team quarterback. You also still have Deshaun Watson. Now, let's backtrack a little bit. At the top of preseason, the top of this draft for 2025, the Cleveland Browns had a total of 6 quarterbacks on their roster. 6! Because who has 6 quarterbacks on the roster? Okay. Joe Flacco, who's obviously QB1, has a Super Bowl, all the things. Shedeur Sanders, phenom out of the University of Colorado, Coach Prime's protege. One of his proteges, that's his kid. We all know the story. Dylan Gabriel, monster out of the University of Oregon, left-handed quarterback, has very much zip on the ball. very, very mobile. Then you added TJ Huntley off of waivers, and then you trade for Kenny Pickett from the Eagles. For what reason, I'm not sure. Probably because you weren't sure what quarterbacks you were going to get or be able to get out of the draft. That makes sense. It's a thing. Then you have TJ Huntley. I honestly don't know where they even got him. Like, I mean, he played for the Packers, played for, I believe, like the Panthers and the Dolphins at one point when Tua was hurt. Then you still have Deshaun Watson literally on your salary cap. Deshaun Watson hasn't taken a snap of an NFL ball for 3 years now. 2 of those due to injury, and 1 of those due to some sexual assault allegations and all the things that really cost him the rest of his season. At that point, make it make sense to me. Why did you have 6 quarterbacks on your roster? On your active roster now for the NFL, for those of you who don't know, you can have up to 3 active quarterbacks on your active 53-man roster, and I believe a practice squad quarterback. So again, you have Dylan Gabriel, you have Shedeur Sanders, you have Joe Flacco, Super Bowl champion, and presumed to be QB1. Kenny Pickett, scout team, practice quarterback, whatever that looks like. But also, if we're going to talk about contracts, why did it take y'all so long to sign Myles Garrett? Because Myles Garrett also pulled a Micah Parsons and asked for a trade. Micah Parsons also, mind you, asked for a trade. Now we had all this talk about, oh, well, we're going to get rid of Mozzie Smith if, kind of going back to the Dallas Cowboys. We're trading Mozzie Smith. We've got some cap space. Okay, let's offer some more of that chunk that we just attained from getting Mozzie Smith to Micah Parsons. And I understand that they were also waiting for the Cunningham deal to go through for the Bengals. So now maybe we're just seeing how we can make Micah Parsons the highest paid edge rusher because he deserves it, just like Myles Garrett deserves it from the Cleveland Browns. My question is who's going to be QB2 for the Cleveland Browns? Is it going to be Dylan Gabriel or is it going to be Shedeur Sanders? I think it's going to be Shedeur Sanders. And not just because I'm a Shedeur Sanders fan, but Shedeur Sanders just looked in the preseason, looked like he had more control of the offense. And not saying Dylan Gabriel didn't have the same or couldn't do the same. It just looked like, and it also doesn't help that the Dylan Gabriel is also a lefty. There's only one other lefty in the league, and his name's Tua Tagovailoa. Okay? A lot of teams don't like a left-handed quarterback because everything is backwards. I would know I'm also left-handed. So, just throw that out there. But in the scheme of quarterback-isms in terms of the Browns and, all the things, is there's pros and cons to each as far as anybody that's not Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is absolutely your number one. Deshaun Watson's not coming back anytime soon. Why he's still in the cap space, who the hell knows? Fact of the matter is, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, frankly, I think it's still going to be a battle for QB2. I do think Shedeur Sanders is going to come out on top as QB2 when it's all said and done in terms of the competing and all the things. But you're also always competing for starting spots all season. Just because you're named the starting quarterback for week 1 doesn't necessarily going to mean you're going to do it in week 2, 3, 4, and on and on. That's the other thing that people aren't understanding is any given game day, every week, every practice, you show up, show out, you earn your spot or you don't earn your spot or you keep working. And I think that's what's going to be the difference is I think Shedeur Sanders is carrying a chip on his shoulder. One, absolutely carrying a chip on his shoulder because how the hell you go from being one of the top quarterback prospects, being a Heisman hopeful, you're coming out of 2 different powerhouses. You help rebuild a program at Jackson State. Then you go to Colorado and you help rebuild that program with your father. Okay. And you fall to the 5th round because of just some random antics that you had as a college student. But there's other people who have done worse things in worse situations that's still in drafted number one, like first and second round. Like the math just doesn't math. I also just think the NFL was making a point because just because you're Deion Sanders' son doesn't mean you have privilege. Like that's absolutely true. And anybody who tries to come in here and tell me that it ain't is a damn lie. It's a damn lie. And I see some comments here. And again, thank you guys for joining us on the Mack Truck Show, Mack Truck Podcast here on TikTok Live, Facebook, StreamYard, Tired Sports Network, Cumulus Media Joint Podcast Network, all the things. Somebody asked me if I saw the interview with Stephen A. Smith. I did not. That is on my list of things to do on my lunch breaks and all the things at work and while I'm here and doctor's appointments and stuff. But I did hear it was very spicy. And I'm kind of excited to watch. In terms of just the interview with Micah Parsons and Stephen A. Smith and all the things, NFL and all that. So I'm excited to see how it goes, what it says, all of the hoopla and what's not. Now listen, moving on. The Washington Commanders, also in my conference, division, whatever you want to call it. Well, division and conference, quite literally. Okay, listen. Terry McLaurin, scary Terry McLaurin, one of the best receivers to come out of Ohio State University. Also requested a trade because at the time, the Washington Commanders wasn't going to pay him. Requested trade, has meetings with, 3, 4, 5 other teams, maybe even has meetings with the entirety of the rest of the other 31 teams in the NFL. Okay. Now is re-signed to the Washington Commanders, receives a 3-year contract extension to end the hold in, I guess is the better way to say it. Hold in meaning he was at practice, he was participating in terms of being there, being present, but he wasn't doing nothing. We still don't quite have all the details in terms of the contract itself, but he did get a 3-year extension with the Washington Commanders, and I'm excited because that means Jaden Daniels also still has his number one receiver. Literally. And speaking of Jaden Daniels, again, I don't see how he doesn't end up in the running for MVP. I ain't gonna lie to you. Laugh at me, yell at me if you want to. Okay? I don't see how Jaden Daniels doesn't get put in the running for MVP. I see some comments here. I think it's around, $96 million. I'm absolutely signing on the 9,600. I'm signing on the dotted line. I'll just throw that out there. Furthermore, everybody knows that football is crazy. Whether it's NFL, college, women's, men's, semi-pro, flag, kick soccer, baseball, knitting, banana bread, football contracts and football in general is nuts. Everybody knows it. Okay. But you're not always gonna get what you want. And just like Babe always tells me, Babe gives a lot of good advice. And everybody just in the comments, write in capital letters, say, hey, Babe, just do it. Just amuse me. That'd be great. Okay? Closed mouths don't get fed. Okay? Listen, if you want your money, open your mouth and say so. Explain why you deserve such and such. That would probably help. But also, there's a way to do it silently. People doing hold-ins, people doing holdouts, people actively requesting trades and having it go on, to the news breaks for sporting engines and such. Okay? Closed mouths don't get fed, folks. If you want your money, open your mouth and give me a reason why I should pay you. And this goes for everything in life, not just sports, but because this is a sports show, it absolutely attains to sports. It's bang. Now, we got one more topic to talk about. Literally, listen, it's my money and I need it now. Come on, JG Wentworth. Love it here. Okay. And again, if you're just joining us, I appreciate you guys for joining me here again on another edition of the Mack Truck Show, the Mack Truck Podcast, all of the things. I am your hostess with the mostest and then some, the Princess of Pain, Mack Truck, and a cup of Dr. Pepper. Listen, college football is here, folks. Okay? Listen, I've been waiting to be able to come back on here and just express my love and excitement for college football. Obviously, it's Black and Gold Nation over here. in terms of just Iowa, I'm excited because we actually have a damn quarterback. Mark Gronowski, two-time D2 national championship quarterback out of SDSU, South Dakota State University Jackrabbits. Okay, he has transferred to the University of Iowa, and I can't wait till Saturday. I can't wait till Saturday. I cannot wait till Saturday. So much so. But really, before we get into just the overall reasonings why I'm so excited for college football again, if you're just joining us at the top of the show, kind of went through just some things that have been happening in my life. I had, like I said, I had a little bit of some health scares during the spring and summer. So now that I finally got those together, kind of behind on some stuff, like financially having a little bit of trouble with some things. And I don't normally do this. I don't normally ask for help or anything like that. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a pretty humble person. But sometimes it's okay to ask for help. And I'm asking for help, whether you're sending gifts on here, but preferably through Cash App or Venmo, just to kind of help me get back on my feet. If you know kind of what happened to me in November, I had a little bit of a health issue as well in November. Got back on my feet pretty well, and then I got smacked with another one. Had also some family issues going on too, so it's kind of caused me to get behind on some stuff. Kind of caused me to just not really be in a great position in terms of the home life. Outside of the fact that I have babes in comments, we love you, babe. But yeah, if you wouldn't mind liking, sharing, subscribing to the show, you can send donations to the show. You can send them on Cash App or Venmo, or on here via TikTok. I would really appreciate it. Like I said, I don't like to ask for help. I'm not a huge person to do that, but sometimes you have to ask. And the worst thing you can do is say no. And I can't be mad at you. But that is the reason why you're seeing like the Cash App tag and all the things. And I really appreciate it if you guys would think of me in any way, shape, or form. Anywho, we're getting back to sports because that's what we're here for in the first damn place. Okay. College football week 0 happened last week in Dublin, Ireland, folks. For you Big 12 fans, it was one of the best Big 12 showdowns we've seen to kick off college football. Kansas State versus Iowa State. Kansas State Wildcats, Iowa State Cyclones, Big 12 mashup to start college football week 0. The Iowa State Cyclones, I'll tell you this, as an Iowa fan, Iowa alum, Iowa State is still not somebody to be messed with. They're not a team to be messed with. I'm not even going to hold you. They sent 3 receivers, damn near back-to-back, and now who are literally all on the same team, to the NFL this season after this season alone. They're retaining Rocco Beck. They're retaining Abu Sama III. They also now have Carson Hansen running the ball as the primary running back for the Iowa State Cyclones. On the other side, you have Avery Johnson, who flew through the Big 12 as a freshman last year, made a lot of the quote-unquote freshman mistakes in terms of just being a raw quarterback, all the things. This was a showdown to be seen. Iowa State ended up getting the job done, 24-23, won by a field goal. The game was close. They would score. Kansas State would score. Kansas State would score. Iowa State. It was literally the definition of the perfect way to start the college football season for 2025-2026. Okay. And what I mean by that, Avery Johnson himself throws for just about 273 yards, goes 21 for 30 in terms of pass completions and attempts, and has 2 touchdowns. 2 long touchdowns, by the way. The kid's got an arm. And the mullet he's rocking, listen, I need to make like a dread mullet because I need to be there. Like, need to get on that train. Because listen, honestly, I'm personally still debating about a 16th season of ball. Babe keeps telling me no. My head's like, yeah, listen, I like to hit people and I like to play football and all the things. Still debating about it. So like watching football being on the screen, I'm like, I need to get back. It's just all the things. Seeing football being played on TV other than the football that I play is very fantastic for me. I love it here. Okay. Either way, Joe Johnson had 12 carries for the Kansas State Wildcats. And Jace Brown, 4 receptions, 1 touchdown in terms of receiving yards and touchdowns for the Kansas State Wildcats. Rocco Beck, 183 passing yards, goes exactly 50% on the game, 14 for 28. in terms of passing yards and completions with 2 touchdowns. Carson Hansen, 16 carries out of the backfield for the Cyclones. And Brett Eccleston, 3 receptions, 1 touchdown for the Iowa State Cyclones. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you this. I love Matt Campbell. I love Coach Matt Campbell. I wish Coach Matt Campbell, to be honest, was the Hawkeyes head coach. I'll tell you why. 1, he's a little bit younger. 2, he's a little bit more modern when it comes to the style of football that Iowa State has grown the pedigree for fans and players and coaches to know. Number 3, that man is about as passionate with bad calls as Nick Saban was. I want that type of coach at Iowa. Quite literally. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? Kirk Ferentz is still to this day the longest running tenured FBS coach in college football. The University of Iowa specifically has had 2 coaches in the modern era. Hayden Fry and Kirk Ferentz. Hayden Fry just passed away 3 years ago. And Kirk Ferentz. Kirk Ferentz played for Hayden Fry. He coached under Hayden Fry as an assistant, then took over the team's coaching roles the year I was born, which was 1992. For those of y'all who don't math very well, I'm 33 and some quarter years old when it comes to the age of all the things, okay? Kirk Ferentz is like 7,000 years old. I think it's time. Get a different coach in there. I don't care if it's Seth Wallace, LeVar Woods. I don't give a damn. Tim Lesser. Somebody a little bit younger and a little bit more on the up and up when it comes to the modern takes of college football. Listen, Nick Saban, okay, made his exit and now is literally a part of College Game Day, the College Game Day analyst staff, College Game Day TV staff. Like, Nick Saban is still in football and he's still very involved with the University of Alabama, as he should be. That is his baby. I don't know if y'all know college football history for real. Okay. He goes from Michigan State to LSU to Alabama, wins about 80% of Alabama's current and most recent college national football championships. Kirk, I think it's time you about did the same, because at this point, until Iowa specifically gets a change in coaching in terms of the head coaching, we not being looked at for no playoff spots. We not being looked at for no big bowl games. We barely get looked at for New Year's Six, and that's because we win games by 3 points with field goals and end up beating Nebraska to break the Big Ten tiebreaker. Listen, I'm just saying, I make the rules, but I don't make the rules for real. Either way, college football slate for you here on the Mack Truck Show. And I appreciate you guys liking, sharing, subscribing. I see all the likes over here. I see all the things over here on the Stratosphere, the Facebook feed. I'm here for it. You're here for it. Listen, we're literally sports, literally sports. And I love it here for us. I really do. Either way, college football slate, officially college football starts tomorrow with Rutgers playing Ohio, just straight Ohio. No Ohio State, no Ohio Tech, just straight Ohio. Okay, they should be slated to win that game by about 12 points. I believe the point spread when I looked was 12.5 in favor of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Okay. Also, rest of the slate here for you in terms of college football for this weekend. Okay. Boise State, number 25, coming in on the AP Top 25 preseason polls, will play University of South Florida at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, which is also tomorrow night. On ESPN, Boise State is favored by 5.5 points. 8:29, which is Friday, Western Illinois will play the University of Illinois Fighting Illini. That game is at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Well, Central Standard Time. Eastern Standard Time would be 7:30. On Peacock. Okay. And they're favored by 45.5 points. That's ridiculous. This is the start of college football season. Let's not just be throwing out 50-point favorites out here. Okay, come on, matchmakers. Let's Chill, okay? Chill. Love it here. Also, time correction for the Boise State game is actually 4:30 Central Standard Time and not 6:30. Left-handed handwriting gets me. Sorry. On 8:30, which is Saturday, mind you, number 8 Alabama will go play Florida State, who is unranked. Alabama is favored by 13.5 points. Okay. Also at 2:30 Central Standard Time on ABC. And I'm kind of interested in this game. I don't know why I'm so interested in this game. Probably because I have absolutely no idea who Alabama's quarterback is going to be. Jalen Milroe now plays for the Seattle Seahawks. For those of you who don't know, Jalen Milroe was the quarterback for the Alabama Crimson Tide for the past 2 seasons. Came very close in the Heisman ratings as well. Very good quarterback, very stable quarterback. Did what he needed to do to keep Alabama relevant and keep the football flying through the air for Coach Kalen DeBoer in his first season last year as head coach. Big game here. And I know if Mr. Bradfield is still watching this cast, the number 1 ranked AP Top 25 team, that is the Texas Longhorns, okay, play Ohio State in the shoe at 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. Why that's an 11 a.m. game makes no sense to me absolutely whatsoever. Because why is that an 11 a.m. game? Someone tell me that. I don't know. That needs to be a night game. Literally needs to be a night game. But okay, I'll give it to you. There was no betting lines on this game, which was very interesting to me. I'm taking Texas by 10 points. Not even going to hold you. The only thing that Ohio State that is returning for Ohio State is Jalen Smith, or Ryan Smith, rather. Wide receiver. That's it. Like, that's it. Like, I don't, that's the only thing Ohio State has outside of the fact that they are the current reigning national champions of college football. I do think it's a little bit disrespectful that they gave Texas the number 1 spot over the national champions, but you also have to think who they're retaining, who they're bringing back, and who Texas quarterback is, who happens to be Arch Manning. Okay? Heir to the throne of the Manning tower of sport and athleticism. Peyton Manning is his uncle. Archie Manning is his grandfather. Eli Manning is his other uncle. Like, listen. The kid's got an arm, and this is going to be his season to really show it off. He's been doubted for a little bit. Obviously, you had to sit 2 years behind Sam Ehlinger, and then you had to sit another year-ish behind Quinn Ewers. Now it's your time. This is your team as a Texas Longhorn starting quarterback, and you're walking into a pedigree that you have to sit and watch. Now you get to be the pedigree. You better, Evan, y'all better have a good damn game, or I'm talking all the mess. I'm just telling you that right now. Listen. Either way, that game is going to be a banger. I hate that it's at 11 a.m. Drives me nuts. I'll be working a radio show event. But I'm salty. This is what we have portable chargers for, so I can watch college football while I'm at the event. Not him talking, do I look worried? No, you don't, but I have to say my piece. Because you see where I went to school and who my coach is. I have to talk mess to somebody, and unfortunately it's you. Love you, though. Either way, New Mexico will who come in at number 14 on the AP Top 25 poll. Not even going to hold you. I really try to avoid talking about Michigan. And Michigan anything. I don't give a damn. And if you know me and Evan's best friend, Mike Ferg, okay, shout out Ferg. He's Michigan everything. It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. And whatever, okay. Babe is also a Michigan fan. Again, she was born and raised in Michigan. That's fine. I'm an Iowa fan. Went to Iowa, all the things. I can't. I can't go. But Michigan has a good football team. That's why they are ranked in the top 25. Okay. I'm taking New Mexico by 10 points just because I wanted to say that. No, realistically, Michigan should get the win by at least 15 points or more. That game will be at 6:30 on ESPN on Saturday. And actually, Michigan is a 34.5 point favorite, which is nuts to me. Again, 34.5 points. Why? Why? Why are you put, first of all, and let's not forget the scandal, okay? Listen, because we still talking about Michigan. suspended now for another game, just so y'all know. Jim Harbaugh has another couple years added to his basically like can't come around college football and coach all that like that stipulation thing. But he's the head coach for the Chargers now, all the things. And then Connor Stallions also has like another year or two on his contract, or as far as like not being able to be around college football, all that things. Listen, I frankly stop cheating, and maybe we don't have these scandals and stipulations and stuff. Listen, I don't listen. Sorry, Michigan. Better luck next year. But listen, at least y'all didn't have like postseason eligibility and a ton of scholarship money taken away. You did have, I think they said, up to $4 or $5 million more scholarship dollars taken away from them as well. So like that's a thing. Either way, Michigan, stop cheating. Okay? We play college football to play college football, not to try to get one over on somebody. But listen, you still gotta respect them. They are one of the most recent college champions as well. Okay, 2023, or 2024, and then Ohio State won it this past season, which is really unfortunate. As an Iowa fan, I hate them both, frankly. So. Well, also, hello from Texas. I see some of the comments in here. Thank you for joining me again. You're listening, watching, viewing the MacTruck podcast. I see we on TikTok got 21.1K likes. Y'all are the shits. Okay, thank you. I see we got some likes and comments on here on the other side of the stream. I thank y'all for that. Thank you for thinking of me. Love it here. And obviously, I have to end the live in terms of just talking football. Notre Dame on the 31st, which is this coming Sunday. Notre Dame, number 6, goes down to Miami to play Carson Beck and the Miami Hurricanes, who are ironically up number 16 or number 10? Number 10. Carson Beck transferred from the University of Georgia to go to play for the Hurricanes, has family down there, all the things. Did an excellent job being the former Georgia Bulldogs quarterback, has a national championship with them, all the things. So the kid knows football. I'm taking Notre Dame by 6, though, frankly. Marcus Freeman and the University of Notre Dame Fighting Irish are retaining literally everybody except Riley Leonard and 2 of their receivers and 1 backup. I think Notre Dame has something to prove. I mean, obviously they have something to prove with having lost the national championship to Ohio State this past winter. Notre Dame's going to be on a tear. I'm going to tell you that right now. But in the same respect, the University of Miami also is going to be in that same realm of trying to earn respect and all the things because of the fact that they just had an excellent season with Cam Ward at the helms. Now you basically you send Cam Ward, number 1 draft pick overall for this past draft, and you insert Carson Beck. If Carson Beck can have a very similar season at the University of Miami like Cam Ward did, there's no way he doesn't get top 10 picks in terms of NFL looks. Don't see why he doesn't get top 10 picks in terms of Heisman votes, all the things. Like if Carson Beck can go in there and do what he did at Georgia and take it to Miami, I think he's going to have an excellent season. I'm still taking Notre Dame by 6 though. And obviously I have to end with the Iowa game because this is my show and I'm an Iowa fan. Okay, Mark Gronowski. Okay, Kane Weegan. Okay, listen. Love it here. I love it here so much. Iowa Hawkeyes in Kinnick Stadium Saturday at 5 p.m. And most of the Iowa games are 5 p.m. games except the Cy-Hawk series, which is at 11 for whatever ungodly reason. I still to this day don't understand. Play University of Albany. That should be an interesting game. No idea. Announced starting quarterback. One would think it would be because I don't know who else we have other than 2 freshmen. And it's crazy to me. I would think that they literally would put Gronowski as the starting quarterback. He's a senior. And I'm seeing comments here on the TikTok, Mr. In My Bag Apparel, they rescheduled the sports card showcase because of, oh, really? Wow. Oh, wow. Listen, and we're not going to get into any scandals from last year, but wow. You tagged me on Facebook. Oh, uh-oh. Okay, well, love it here. Love that for us. Go Sports Card Showcase. If you know, you know. If you don't, it's not worth it. But listen, that's all I got for you guys today. We went an hour and 21 minutes or so. Okay, got to wrap things up. I'm loving. I'm loving it. I'm loving the pettiness that I'm seeing in the comments. Also for myself. Michigan sucks. Texas sucks. Iowa sucks. If you're not a Mack Truck fan, I hate that for you. Sorry. But I'm back for a little bit until something else slaps me in the face. But I appreciate you guys for joining me here on the Mack Truck Show. Again, you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, StreamYard, Twitch, X, really anywhere. You can also follow me at TheeMackTruck_ on TikTok. You can also follow the Mack Truck Show page. It's literally the Mack Truck Show or Mack Truck Pod TSN_. Okay. Make sure liking, sharing, subscribing, all the things in terms of podcast on the Tired Sports Network and Cumulus Media Des Moines Podcast Network. I appreciate all of you so much. Literally appreciate all of you so much. I've never seen so many likes and comments before in my life, and I'm here for it. But without further ado, I got to go. I got to go edit this thing and send it over to the network so they can put the audio version out. But I appreciate you guys. Again, if you've seen the comments, I appreciate all the help, all the support, all the things. And it would just really mean a lot to me if you would consider helping. You don't have to. Again, the worst thing you could say is no. But with that, in the illustrious words of Ellen DeGeneres, be kind to one another. In the illustrious words of the great Pat McAfee, be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It can change your life. And in the illustrious words of the great Prescott Kelly and myself, stay up, stay blessed, stay tuned, and stay sporty. We'll see you on the next one, folks.